I'd heard about the plane crash at Moonlight Creek. It happened back in '42, so it's surprising to find the remaining wreckage in pretty good condition. There are still clues to be found here that are the start of an amazing survival story. This is one of those old American warbirds. It was originally called a Liberator bomber. It took off from Iron Range airstrip right up in the Cape York area, flew up a whole bunch of others to do a bombing raid up in New Guinea. On its way back it got lost and it ended up running out of fuel just here, right in the Gulf of Carpentaria. Out of the whole crash, there are only 6 blokes who survived it. 2 of them walked that way to Escott Station and got rescued, and the other 4, they made a disastrous decision. They went west. Out of that 4, only 1 lived, but he lived for 5 months. Now this part of the world here, in Australia, is very stark, because the area we're talking about is right here in the Gulf of Carpentaria, right on the Northern Territory border. And to survive around here, you've really got to keep your eyes open, because food and water is very scarce. The 4 airmen were walking west to nowhere. They were strangers in a totally foreign landscape. The navigation equipment on their aircraft had broken down, so they had no idea where they were or where they were heading. Over the next few months, they would have to put up with extreme weather conditions. The humidity and monsoonal rain of the wet, plus scorching 40-degree heat. The only gear they had with them was some matches, a knife, 1 fish hook, and a few bars of chocolate. They lived on berries, bush passion fruit, melons, and the odd snake and a few frogs. But like most Australians, they weren't really sure what they could eat out here. The little bit of food they found just wasn't enough. In the wet, rivers became a major problem. They turned into fast-flowing torrents. During one difficult crossing, one of the men was swept away and drowned. He was simply too weak to make it. What the rest of them never realised was that there was a food source right on the riverbank. It grows all along the rivers and creeks up here in the north, the pandanus. Up here, we've got the little terminal bud at the end of the branch here. And you can get at that by peeling back the leaves. Just chop a few away. Because right in the middle of this is a meal. There we go. And that's what you can eat in there. Same as the palm, it's got that cabbagey type taste. Because really what you're eating is the white base of the leaves. Get a bit of everything out. Not too bad. Plenty of fibre. Certainly keep you alive. If you're trying to survive out here, there's one bush tucker you should try and avoid, and that's this fella here. So this is the cycad, which is extremely poisonous. But Aboriginal people found a way you could eat him. Because these cycads contain a big mob of toxins, Aboriginals found a way that they could get rid of them by leaching them in running water. Just break this old one open so you can see what's inside. There it is there. Get quite a bit of nut for your money. Now, after about 10 days of pounding and washing and baking and boiling and all the rest of it, they'd then make a johnny cake out of it and eat it. But we've tested these things and we find that they still, after all that treatment, contain a big lot of toxins. Even when they are finished and they're baked up, they've got a taste which is about the same as wet cardboard. And I think the nutritional value is something similar. The cycad palm is one of the most primitive plants on earth, and it's a good example of how much knowledge you need to live off this country. That's why the survivors of the plane crash at Moonlight Creek were in such a desperate situation. They knew nothing about bush tucker. They could find plenty of water, but very little food. After 3 months, the 3 remaining airmen arrived at the billabong, but they had no idea of the food that was there. Most of the billabongs in northern Australia are pretty much the same, and at that time of year when they were here, it was wet season. So all of this dead grass here would have been green and upstanding and producing little edible nuts underneath the mud. In fact, that stuff there is called water chestnut, and you can eat it. As well as that, they would have gotten these things here, which are little mud mussels. Cook them up and eat them as well. Out here, they've got the water lilies. And even when they're not producing bulbs, which are edible, you can eat the young leaves and the shoots and the whole lot. If only they'd known that, they could have survived. Incredibly, one of the Americans did survive. He hung on for 141 days before he was found by an Aboriginal stockman. They took away the bodies of his teammates who died of starvation, surrounded by food. The Moonlight Creek tragedy highlights our need to know more about the bush. That's why I spend most of my time travelling across northern Australia getting more information on bush survival. Moving inland to the south, the landscape changes. Suddenly, you find yourself right on the edge of the arid zone. I've never catalogued bush tucker in this part of the Gulf country before, so to me, it's all new territory.